And you can tell anybody who's got the scar on their arm, which I do. And so I must have been 55 or 56 when I got when I got it.
Looks like some beaver chewed away on you.
So the only question, if you have,
Well, I would say that, one thing, is the needles that they used to give you shots are like a million times more fine than
Oh,
the
yeah.
stuff when we were kids, I think.
I mean, they were all like the end of this pin.
We're gonna broadcast live. There are no participants.
You're currently live.
All right, we're currently live.
Infections substantial.
Okay. Didn't make the 5 o'clock news yet.
No, that's just King County Connect.
Okay.
the online, I don't know what the ratio is.
If you get, are they starting to offer the flu vaccine yet?
No, it won't
I
come.
haven't heard of it.
And if so, how does that jive with
We're gonna get
the,
flu shots in the fall.
the COVID?
It doesn't.
We got them last year.
Yeah,
Pfizer's talking
COVID
about a
shots
third-
and
third
we had
dose.
flu vaccine.
Yeah.
Are they really?
I haven't heard, I haven't heard a word about the Modernas in months, and that's the one I got.
Me too.
It's what most of us have.
So, yeah.
So you get it.
They said your hair would fall out.
Oh, God. Damn. I've been trying to explain that for the longest time. And you're in trouble,
So
dude.
this is a tough room you find yourself in.
I've been like this since age 18, so I.
Oh, geez, then you didn't need the vaccine.
No,
You got the shot early.
We wasted the vaccine on
that
you.
was a bad term back in the 60s.
We made his time, Tom.
You should always preface that with, from what I remember.
What I was told.
I was told, that's
There you
right.
go.
According to the press reports.
Mhm.
Okay, Pfizer says they'll give you a booster shot.
But if you have the Moderna, you get the Pfizer, can you get the Pfizer?
I don't know.
Dr. Murphy said today that they're so close in, that the chemicals are so close in how they design them, that they could be interchangeable if it came down to that. But Moderna is going to be announcing a booster in the next few weeks. That's what they said. Because I have Moderna as well. And,
I just got try to touch my physician and just give him. See they give him, or authorize us like Walgreens.
I don't know if you're aware that Tony broke that door again.
Nice try,
Go
John.
back to your
So probably limits during the COVID years, extended meetings.
This is kind of family. Yeah. You have to get tested. If you have a symptom, you have to self-isolate. Yeah. Yeah. Entertain themselves.
Yeah, just take a look. We'll see if it's good.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, Chief. Good.
Wasn't just me.
You don't want to sit over next to Kyle?
I can. I didn't want to share that.
Kyle, don't let it bother you. It's all right.
All right. See you again.
Yeah, nice to see you.
Icons get rearranged.
The. Are you on the VPN?
No, I'm on an
Okay.
Android tablet, so there's no telling why it does what it does. Okay. Oh, look at it, 7:30, and our agenda opens. Call the meeting to order, pledge of allegiance. Pledge of
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Prano,
Present.
Mr. Hoffman, Mr. Thorne.
Here.
Mr. Dattley,
Here.
Mr. Harney,
Here.
Mr. Nimitz. For President, Mr. President, you have a quorum.
Okay, we have a quorum, we have a meeting. Please note that according to ordinance section 1-5-4F of the village code, immediately following the finance director segment of our agenda, there's a period for public comments. Public comments are limited to 5 minutes per person, with the total time allocated for public comments not to exceed 30 minutes. Anyone wishing to address the board during that time may do so by placing their name on the sign-up sheet, which is located in the back of the room at any time prior to that segment of our agenda. Also, please note if you have any electronic transmitting or receiving devices, please put them in the off or vibrate mode. Okay, moving on with the agenda. Minutes, we have a motion to approve the minutes of the July 19, 2021 meeting.
So moved, Diatley.
Second, Thorne.
Moved by Diatley, seconded by Thorne to approve the minutes of July 19, 2021. Are there any corrections or additions? There being none, roll call, we're in person. We can do this by voice mode. Let's do that. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion so carries. All right, we have a motion to approve the minutes of the special board meeting of July 29, 2021.
I move that we approve the board minutes of the special meeting on July 29th, 2021.
Second, Arnie.
Moved by Morano, seconded by Harney to approve the minutes of July 29, 2021. Any corrections? There being no corrections, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion so carries. All right, thank you, gentlemen.
There goes my speaking role.
That's right. No longer have to use it.
You
We might be able to replace you with machines that don't talk back.
Don't tease me like that. It's gotta be promises.
Okay. We won't. Okay, moving on into the president's report. As you all know, we're back in person. That may change, who knows? We'll just take it meeting to meeting. In the meantime, our Eagle Scout project had a kickoff last Saturday. Everything seems to have gone nice and smooth and easy, so there were no complaints, no problems. So I'm out and about handing out the bags in numerous neighborhoods, so. Now I guess he goes back this next weekend and then we'll collect the bags and take it all in, so it's 2 parts there, so okey doke. The other item is good news for us, is the American Recovery Plan. American Recovery Plan Act, that's the way it goes. ARPA. Yeah. Eugene did a yeoman's job on monitoring that situation for us. And when the portal opened, he was right there. Within an hour and a half or 2, he told me we needed a signature. Within a couple of hours of giving him the signature, he informed me that our application had been accepted for $441,000. I think $441,002.03 is the way it breaks out. It's very strange. But we've got confirmation that we will get half of that in a check in August 20th of this month. And that'll be 220,000 and change. And then next year in August, we will receive the second half of it. Now, those funds are going to be accounted for with the ARPA project. They're limited in their use. The easiest ones it seems to be able to use with those will be anything related to water or sewer. So those will be where we will most likely use those funds. It'd be nice to use them in general funds so we could, everybody could kind of share a little bit of them. But it looks like the last place and the fastest and easiest to put them is in water or sewer. So that's where we will probably be going. And we'll probably wait until we see what this decision with West Dundee shakes out to be with the sewer situation over there. So if we have to do some work on the sewer system, we may be able to use these funds in that regard. So that's what I said. We'll wait here for a while. We do have to have it extended by, I believe it's 24, I think, 2024. So meantime, we'll see what comes up in water and sewer for those uses. I said, other than that, the next item is I'd like to introduce to you our member in the audience, not here for public comments. This is Suzanne Ness. Suzanne is our state representative for District 66.
Correct.
Here in Illinois. And she asked if she could attend this evening's meeting and provide us with an update of Springfield and see what we might need.
Great.
Suzanne?
Thank you very much for having me. Is it okay if I sit here?
Sure.
Okay. Nobody's blocking me from me, so it's pretty good. Well, yes, my name is Suzanne Ness, and I've been wanting to get to meet you and meet the various villages around the 66. I was elected in November, and it's been very busy, to say the least. We ended session in May with one extra day in June, and because they didn't meet at all last year, it meant we had a lot of work to do. So 4,000 bills went out of the Rules Committee alone on the House side, which I was told is not overly common, but with the change of leadership, some things have changed, and that was one of the changes. So that was pretty exciting. But part of the other reason I wanted to come tonight was to, in addition to introducing myself, I believe that one of the roles of a person in my position is to make sure that I'm there paying attention so that when opportunities come along and there's resources available to bring back to the district, that is one of my #1 priorities. And so to that end, I found out very late in session that there were some funds available for our district. And I know the president from the Chamber of Commerce from a couple of, gosh, a long time actually, huh? I think I met you 10 years ago.
Geez, it's been,
It's been a very long
15
time. Yeah.
years at least.
So not knowing what kinds of projects you had going on, but knowing that, you can always use some extra dollars, I was able to appropriate $200,000 or up to $200,000 for the village of Sleepy Hollow. So much like the ARPA dollars, it's a little bit bound by infrastructure. It's part of the capital plan bill that was passed in 2019. But if you have any, and I will reach out or can talk directly with Public Works is here, another official. But if you have something that's shovel ready, the funds are available for up to 8 years, I believe. And somebody from the Department of Economic Commerce and Security will notify the village and help you go through the process of getting the funds. So,
Okay.
yeah,
Way
so
cool.
Thank you very much.
you're welcome. So in addition to that, it's not a big check. I want a big check. So, but in addition to that, my office is in Carpentersville, right on the other side of the river. And I'm looking forward to, I've started to already have a law enforcement roundtable that the sheriff participates in, or the chief participates in. We have probably up to, when they all come, we're close to 12. Just to make sure that the legislation that came out around the crime bill, that I want to know the impact of local, how it's impacting our local departments and making sure that they're able to, that it doesn't cause undue or unnecessary impact. So that's been a really valuable conversation for me. So those are just some of the things we're doing. There's, more coming, but it's been really fun so far. So yeah, so I'm really glad that I could be here tonight. So if I do town halls frequently, and in fact, I'm doing office hours here on, I don't have the date in front of me, but we're doing them mobile around the whole district. So I've been to a couple of other municipalities. We will do like a robocall to the residents of Sleepy Hollow to let them know that I'll be here. I think it's August 26th, but I'm not 100% sure to look at my calendar. So if you want to let residents know, or if there's anything that people have questions and there's state issues and you don't know the answer, I don't necessarily know it, but I can bug a few people and find out. So happy to do it. Yeah.
So any talk of amending the Open Meetings Act to allow continuation of remote meetings?
Yeah,
See
so
the fine, nice new equipment that the village of
yes,
Sleepy Hollow has.
yeah.
It still can be broadcast to residents, but is there talk of allowing for remote attendance by trustees?
I mean, I haven't heard that, but prior to the meeting, we were talking, I would actually like to see it continued, because I think that, especially for certain situations, like if people get sick. I was on the county board for 2 years, McHenry County Board, and we had a member who was, undergoing cancer treatment, and because it was also COVID, they were able to participate.
Right, but there's an exception for that now.
I understand.
This
Yeah.
would allow somebody, just for lack of a better word, for convenience, to attend remotely.
Mhm. Well, I think that I don't know. I mean, I haven't heard anybody bring it up, but I would be curious to know, how was your participation when you were meeting remotely? That would be one question I would have.
We probably were about 100%.
Okay. I mean, that,
I can't recall.
We would all be in favor of,
mhm.
we'll be watching.
There were a couple of times people were on the back of their car or sitting on a fishing boat or something.
Well, I'll give you an example. Last week, I drove to Bolingbrook to attend a hearing of which I was asked to speak at. Fine. I drove an hour and a half to get there. The meeting started at 9 o'clock. At 9:05, they adjourned because they didn't have a quorum, because
Okay.
a couple of members were sick and couldn't be there. So am I in favor of something like allowing people? Yes, because I drove an hour and a half to Bolingbrook, so 3 hours round trip.
I have another question. Where would we find the regulations that govern this infrastructure appropriation?
So that'll be through DCEO. It's done through like a grant process.
So, all right, so they would have the restrictions on the use of grant funds
Yeah.
from DCEO. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, any other questions for Suzanne?
What towns encompass your district?
Sure, we go as far north as Crystal Lake. In fact, I live in Crystal Lake, and as far south as a little bit of Elgin, south of 90, Gilbert's and parts of Huntley, and then east and west Dundee, Sleepy Hollow, and some of Carpentersville. So, and Algonquin, Lincoln Hills.
You go to Pingree Grove also?
No, No. The new map may, there's a redraw, of course, as you probably all know. And that goes a little bit to Pingree Grove. So if that holds up, then I'll be going to Pingree Grove.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, no other questions? Suzanne, thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. I love your village, and anything I can do to help, let me know.
Will do.
Thanks.
We thank you very much.
All right. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, that I believe concludes the president's report, clerk's report.
I have no report tonight.
Okay, planning and zoning, no report from B and Z this evening, attorney's report.
Short report, yes, the Chief Farmer can talk some more about this, but he reported to me that there was, I think, 2 incidents of aircraft landing or coming down in the village, and noticed that there were not, was not any local regulation of that. So you have in front of you tonight an ordinance that would adopt some regulations that would prohibit takeoff and landings. Aircraft is a bit of an overstatement, but I found it to be a convenient definition in the state law. These were balloons, correct? Correct. And then we've added in also ultralight vehicles, which is another defined term. It's a federally defined term of a certain kind of aircraft. Pilots do not need to be licensed to operate an ultralight. So that tells you a little something.
Below a certain weight, yeah, below a certain weight.
Below a certain weight,
Yeah.
right. And 1 passenger. Basically, if it's 2 passengers, some different regulations will kick in.
Yeah.
They figure you can endanger yourself, but you shouldn't endanger your friend. Yeah, anybody crazy enough to go out. So I suspect not a major problem, but a good addition to the village code, just to make clear that people who do this by accident or on purpose can be subject to a fine, and it's certainly a nuisance and in some sense a danger. So, Chief, good summary.
Absolutely. Yeah, we had 3 total incidences, 2 involving a balloon, 1 landing in town, another one taking off from town. And then we had the 3rd incident involving the ultralight was a paramotor, which essentially is a big fan strapped to your back with a parachute behind you, who took off from 17 Park. So that was kind of what initiated, the balloons initiated the contact, and then the paramotors is where we added that to the ordinance to get it passed. And it gives us just the ability to make it somewhat painful if somebody does violate our airspace and do something, because quite honestly, it's dangerous to be trying to land in town. It really is.
Were one of these incidences a week ago, Sunday morning?
Yes.
I heard it. What the heck is going on? And then it stopped and they said, "Oh, the chief is there."
It was actually the night of our, one of our last board meetings. I believe it was. Because we were here, I got called at the end of the board meeting. Yeah, that's when they said we have an issue.
Oh.
That was one of the issues.
Okay.
I have a question about this. I mean, I'm not really hearing that this is happening so often that it's a terrible danger to everybody, but is this something that you think that we need to enact to avoid certain liabilities?
No.
No.
No, it's just to be able to write a local citation and impose a fine on somebody, rather than have the word get out that Sabatino Park is a good place to take off in your ultralight.
Okay. Okay, so it's a public position.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in a former life, we initiated a similar ordinance where we actually had a hot air balloon hit a house. Did several $1,000s worth of damage to the roof to it because he had to put it down quickly because he said there was the power lines on I-90. So that, once that happened, we wrote an ordinance quickly to have, some teeth so that we could prevent this from happening. And then the word got out that South Barrington at the time was not a good place to land. We want that same word to get out about Sleepy Hollow.
Okay,
It's not a good place to
okay.
land.
Kind of preemptive move. On
Yes.
that part.
Okay.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? Otherwise, motion to approve ordinance 2021-8. Nice.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 2021-8 regarding adopting regulations governing takeoff, ascent, and landing of aircraft or light vehicles in the village.
Second, Diatley.
Moved by Arnie, seconded by Diatley to approve ordinance 2021-8. An ordinance adopting regulations governing the takeoff and ascent and landing of aircraft and or ultralight vehicles within the village of Sleepy Hollow. Any comments, questions, or discussion? There being none, roll call, please.
Mr. Prano,
Aye.
Mr. Dattley,
Aye.
Mr. Harney,
Aye.
Mr. Thorne.
Aye.
4 affirmative votes, no negative votes, the motion so passes. Gee, see, you still got a talking place as long as we got ordinances.
Get my hopes up.
Okay. All right. Anything else, Mr. Schuster?
Nothing else at this time. Maybe some old business. at this time.
Sir? Engineers report, Jeff.
On the agenda is the some action items for the 2021 street program. I believe we talked about it at last meeting, so we're planning on paving Carroll Crest Drive, Christopher Court, and Wingmore Court. Those seem to be the best places given the amount of funds this year, and just so everything gets done rather than doing portions of roads. First item is, I don't know if you want to approve this all as one item, or do you want to do it individually?
Mr. Schuster likes them individually.
So we've done it both ways. I have no preference. So.
No, yeah. Well, Mr. Schuster likes them 1, 2, 3, not the whole pile.
So the first one is just a resolution to appropriate the funds for this project. We're using MFT funds. It's for $123,000. Do you just want me to list them all off?
Sure.
Second is just basically the agreement between us and the village regarding the fees for both the engineering and the inspection of the project. Third is just authorization to execute IDOT documents. Basically, it gives Tony and Stefan authorization to sign stuff. Fourth is the approval of estimated costs. So basically is the estimated cost for the project is $122,088.50. And then engineering and also the testing for the project is $16,679.74. That's come out of general funds. And in all is $138,768.24. And any questions?
Did you say we were going to do Hillcrest?
What?
Did you say you were going to repave Hillcrest?
No, it is Carroll Crest Drive,
Okay.
Christopher Court, and Windmore Drive, or I'm sorry, Windmore Court.
Okay.
Jeff, just a quick question. When that's done, does the existing pavement get torn up?
Yeah, so basically in this instance we're removing 2 inches of pavement. So basically it's the grinder will come through, remove 2 inches of pavement, and then in total, 2 1/4 inches is put back in pavement. So it'll be a little bit higher, but there'll also be aggregate shoulder on the edges.
Okay, we have a motion to approve maintenance resolution BLR 14220.
So moved. Thorne.
Second,
Moved by Thorne, seconded by Diatley to pass the motion of the maintenance resolution appropriating available funds from the MFT for the 2021 street program. Any further comments, questions, or discussion? There being none, roll call, please.
Mr. Thorne,
Aye.
Mr. Dattley,
Aye.
Mr. Prano,
Aye.
Mr. Harney,
Aye.
4 affirmative votes, no negative votes, the motion so passes. On the second part, we have a motion to approve the maintenance and engineering agreement with Hines and Associates BLR 05520.
So moved Diatley. Second, Moreno.
Moved by Diatley, seconded by Moreno to approve the maintenance engineering agreement. Any further comments, questions, or discussion? There being none, roll call please.
Mr. Thorne,
Aye.
Mr. Harding,
Aye.
Mr. Prano,
Aye.
Mr. Dattley.
Aye.
Okay, third item is to authorize the village president and the clerk to execute all necessary IDOT forms and authorize the village clerk to advertise for bids upon formal approval from IDOT for the 2021 street program.
So moved Moreno.
Second, Harney.
Moved by Moreno, seconded by Harney to authorize the village clerk and president to execute all documents. Any further comments, questions, or discussion? There being none, roll call please.
Mr. Harding,
Aye.
Mr. Prano,
Aye.
Mr. Dattley,
Aye.
Mr. Thorne.
Aye.
And the fourth and final action is to approve the estimate of maintenance cost BLR 142022. Let's all jump on this one.
So moved Diatley.
Second, Thorne.
Moved by Diatley, seconded by Thorne to approve the estimate of maintenance costs. Any further comments, questions, or discussion? There being none, roll call please.
Mr. Dattley,
Aye.
Mr. Prano,
Aye.
Mr. Harding,
Aye.
Mr. Thorne.
Aye.
Four affirmative votes, no negative votes, the motion so passes. Okay. Anything else, Jeff?
Just to give you an update on that is the documents have been submitted to IDOT with preliminary documents, basically bid book and the plan for which streets to do. So they're reviewing that. So hopefully soon they'll come back with approval on that. And then once we get a bid date, then I'll let everybody know on that. Secondly is good news is we've heard back from IDOT in regards to the City Hall Road program. And we are having a pre-construction meeting tomorrow at 10 o'clock. So at that meeting, we'll hear from Plody Construction, who's actually the low bidder, and find out when exactly they're planning on starting. Once I hear that, I'll let everybody know.
And a question on that one, would that be done similar where some of the pavement's gonna be taken
Yep,
out?
exactly. Yep. On this instance, though, is a little bit more pavement actually gets removed. And then a little bit more actually gets put back in order to actually have better base to that. So
And we're going all the way from 72 to
to the
Or
sun.
the sign.
Yep.
And my assumption is it's like half is done one day, so cars can come. and then-
Yeah, is
The other
they'll,
half is
yeah, they'll
done.
shut down, they'll have flaggers on both ends for whatever section that they're actually working on in order to actually direct traffic, but it will be one lane along that route.
What do you think, like guesstimated, how many days it might take?
It is 25 working days on at least what's planned out there. However, during the construction area, that also includes in punch list items and so forth. So in all, it probably should maybe take a week and a half, 2 weeks, mainly given, give or take, weather wise and so forth. So
Thank you.
Anything else, Jeff?
that is it at the moment.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. Next, Director of Finance, Eugene.
Okay, we have the warrants that need to be approved in the amount of $67,935.84.
Have a motion to approve the warrants of August 2nd, 2021.
So moved Diatley.
Second, Thorne.
Moved by Diatley, seconded by Thorne to approve the accounts payable of August 2nd, 2021 in the amount of $67,935.84. Any additions, deletions, corrections?
I like to make a potential deletion, the ICCI payment number 18, which is for 15 North 440 Randall Cell Tower, the amount of $6,590. I know I've had some conversation with Barb Detmer, but I think that we need to have a conversation as to the impact of this amount and what it may, because of some other information that's come about and where this affects the village. I don't know whether we discuss that now or we discuss at a later date, but I wouldn't be able to approve the warrants with that number in there until there's some explanation on what all transpired with this number.
We're talking about the cell towers.
On the other side of
Randy's.
Randall Road, right?
Yeah, this is the cell tower on Randy's property.
I talked to her today in which she explained to me that this is basically an equipment swap. So it's not the tower itself that's being demolished or anything like that. There's equipment that's attached to the tower that they're taking out and they're upgrading. And that's what this is all about.
And when I spoke to Barbara, I heard her say that the tower is actually being taken down completely and put up. I do know that this amount of money that we paid to ICCI for their services, the village also got their portion of as we do with any permit situation. The question I have though is that there's some indication that where this tower is located is still in Sleepy Hollow, although we voted to annex the remaining Randy's property back to the city of Elgin. And that's where I'm confused as to, there's this piece of island, if you will, that's sitting out there, and what impact does it have on the village itself?
She explained to me that there's actually several parcels and only part of that was sold to the car dealership. The parking lot and the cell tower remained with Sleepy Hollow.
Well, let me comment on that. I'm not sure that's true. The problem has been that there was a delay by the owners in getting the correct signed paperwork into the city. And none of it's been recorded yet. So for sure, these two parcels to the west of where the car dealer is going are still showing in the village of Sleepy Hollow officially. When I look at the plat of disconnection that was finally produced, it shows that these two parcels were also disconnected because they no longer be contiguous to the village of Sleepy Hollow. But we'll have to verify that with the city of Elgin and for future reference. So I had the same message from Barb, and it's confusing because none of it got reported yet. But the drawing sure looks like the cell tower site, the parking lot site, the vacant land, all got disconnected with the front portion that's going to be the Mazda dealership.
My other question is, if we pay out the $6,509 to ICCI, do we ever have to, what would, if it gets disconnected to the city of Elgin, does the city of Elgin then ask for that money? Do we have to pay it back?
No, because our permit would have, the village of Sleepy Hollow permit has been issued or will be issued. So the Elgin wouldn't have any claim to or reason, you know, they might ask for the records or send a FOIA for the records, but they didn't do any work. They declined. They were specifically asked and declined. So they have no fees coming for any of the work that the village of Sleepy Hollow incurred for the current project. That'd be my answer to that.
Okay, that was my fear that.
So do you still want to scratch that from the warrants?
No, but I appreciate the explanation because it was a little bit crazy when.
Right, it's a
you know,
big
when-
number for them.
Yeah,
Okay,
thank you.
all right. Okay, so we got a motion and a second to approve the warrant. So August 2nd, 2021, the amount of $67,935.84. No further comments or questions or discussion. Roll call, please.
Mr. Dattley. Aye. Mr. Thorne.
Aye.
Mr. Prano.
Aye.
Mr. Herman.
Aye.
4 affirmative votes, no negative votes, the motion so passes. Okay. Anything else, Eugene?
At the last meeting, we discussed two issues on the e-pay type system. And then also collections. I kind of talked to the treasurer's group, and everybody in the treasurer's group basically uses the Illinois e-pay system. With this, it looks like just about all the fees can be transferred onto whoever uses the system, so that when you charge something or whatever, that there's just going to be an added fee added onto your cost, that so the village would get its full amount. There might be a small administrative fee that I think I saw something like $10 a month or something like that. But other than that, all these fees are passed off to the consumers that use it. They're able to integrate with everything. We can probably do as much as we want with it. The other one that I was looking at had been GovPay, but that's more of just a phone call type system. This seems to be much more integrated, where we can actually have a card reader at the front counter that they can swipe, as well as kiosks and stuff like that. Or they can pay on their phones and several other things. The mayor did drop off a brochure of what East Dundee is doing. I kind of looked at their website, and it's kind of interesting that they talk about everything except what the fees are. So there's nowhere on the website that I could find anything about fees. So that's
the county, the circuit clerk adds like 4%.
Mhm.
I don't know if they use that system, but so if you pay a court fine with your credit card, I believe it's 4% they add on, and people use it all the time. Because it just, they don't have money.
It's there's, I think, 2.35% is what they would add on.
So
This is a very reasonable amount.
does it allow for instead of credit card for a automatic debit? Oh, that's good.
The ACH and everything.
Yeah.
It's then you can use Apple Pay and Google Pay and Samsung Pay and everything else. And it would be automatically deposited into our Illinois funds account. Or if we didn't want that, we could do an alternate bank or something like that. But it seemed pretty, everything I've read has been very good, and the feedback I got from the other treasurers and stuff like that was very positive. And again, it was my understanding that one of the previous directors of finance thought that the accounting was too difficult to do, and that's the reason why it was discontinued. So but I don't see a reason. I'm very customer oriented, and if I have to do a little bit more work to make it easier for everybody else, I'm willing to do it.
How does the system then segregate the purpose of the payment? Does it, or is that on you?
It's probably on us, but I don't foresee, it'd be the same thing as if they dropped off a check in the mailbox. We'd have to go through the same process.
To figure out if it was
Water or sewer, yeah, exactly. If they put it in the red box out there without an explanation, then we're in the same. boat.
Those are the names down.
I can continue to explore further options and stuff like that, or, I can.
We can put it as an action item in the next meeting and move forward.
Yeah, get a ton of paperwork going inside.
Yeah,
Put it on the agenda.
I've read through their agreement, and it seems to be pretty standard with nothing,
Okay.
I know that the mayor had mentioned before about one system where you had to personally guarantee and stuff like that. I did not see anything like that.
So PSC or PISC or something.
Mhm.
Requirements that there was in there. Yeah, okay, that's good. As long as the state will take care of it, and we don't have to worry about it.
They did talk also about chargebacks, but we would handle it the same way as a bounce check. The other item was on collections. Again, nobody does collections. They'll send letters, demand letters and stuff like that. But when I did a little bit more investigation with this, and what is probably the best alternative would be to sue them in a small claims court. And that would be good for amounts up to $10,000. We do not need an attorney to represent us for like something like with the chief could just go and represent the village and we would basically send a demand letter. If they don't respond to the demand letter, then file a small claims court.
So nobody reported to you what for sewer or water collections? Or all collections?
Generally for collections in general, you know. If they don't, they just don't, they don't follow up on it.
Really?
Yeah.
Because all the administrative adjudication systems generally use a collection agency. Of course, you forfeit a good part of what's due, but they do it. And some others use the state system to tag income tax returns.
I looked at the rates of using the collection systems, and it was basically started at 50%. And if you say we want you to collect this debt and say, oh, I made a mistake, and immediately, ask for it back, they charge you 10%. So the amount of fees that they would charge would be far and above. Yeah.
Okay, looks like we stick with the e-pay thing and let the,
Hope it reduces the collection.
yes, this is the collection fees that we might have. Otherwise, the demand letter and small claims court might come in handy.
I will say that every single day someone comes in wanting to pay a bill with a credit card. Every day, at least once a day, whether it is a building permit or water or sewer, or they're calling us on the phone and they're saying, I'm at closing, I want to pay off the water bill.
We got that as an action item on August 19th. Oh, 16. Okey doke.
Could we put that off for the one after that, because I'm.
Oh, okay, that's right.
coming
You're
back
on.
from Honduras, so I will
Okay.
not be able to follow up on it.
September.
It's Tuesday the 7th.
The day after.
But I don't know what day Labor Day is.
It's the 7th. Labor Day is the 6th, so it will be the board meeting on the 7th.
September 7th, you're right, correct, Tuesday.
Okay.
Yes.
Action item for the 7th of September. All right, thank you, Eugene. The next item is. Is it okay, comments from the public. I've got a couple, or I got one quick one. The Legend editors have a reminder, August 10th, for our articles for the newsletter. Chief, I guess that's you and I.
I'm sitting on my desktop.
Okay, well, I don't have that done far yet. I don't even have a topic yet. I'm waiting for these guys to come up with something interesting. I can write about it. Okay, on to the trustee reports, roads and parks, Mr. Harney.
Nothing new to report, but I will comment. Prior to the meeting, I happened to go over on Willow Lane and slowly drove along Willow Lane. And if you've seen it, it's been strawed and seeded. And acquaintance that I know there and a small group of people were by the road and kind of stopped. And anyways, they are very happy. Said, please pass their thanks on to Jeff and Kyle and the board. So I'm doing that. Nothing else.
Okay, thank you, Ed. Finance, Mr. Hoffman is not with us this evening. Eugene, you have anything for?
Nothing in addition to what I.
Okay, thank you, sir. Water and sewer, Mr. Nemick is not with us this evening. Okay, police and public safety, Mr. Diatley.
You'll notice chief supplied a letter in your file. Just, interesting information on there. One officer being recognized for the intoxicated motorist. Intoxicated Alliance Against Intoxicated Motorists for his efforts in DUI enforcement. So appreciate the work of our Chris Deori. Right, get that right. And then also that Officer Shafransky is now out and been released for solo patrol and going full-time on August 1st, which was yesterday. So we appreciate that. I found it very interesting, the information on Sleepy Hollow Road and the amount of cars and our speeding and speed rates going down there. So it's very good to learn we're not, getting too many speeding problems, and, hopefully that the sign helps. So I appreciate the report, Chief. Thank you. That's it.
All right, thank you, Mr. Diatley. Public buildings and environment, Mr. Thorne.
I have no report.
Thank you, Mark. Buildings and zoning, Mr. Carino.
Just a question. I was walking the neighborhood the other day, and I know that Stevens Court and Joy, we just had the new signs put on probably a few weeks ago. Someone asked me about Jamestown and Darien. Kyle, do we have any other, like, the next group of streets that would be going up?
Not yet. I haven't put that. It'll be a board approval order. I think they run around 6 or 7 grand when I get a patch book. So I'm waiting for, after his paving project, I have some stuff I gotta get patched up and waiting to see what the general fund of that looks like.
And how are we with the total village percentage, if you will?
Maybe 22%, 23%.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Tom. Anthony.
You're welcome.
Old business. Old business come before the board. I believe Windward Drive. Is old business.
Windsor Drive?
Windsor Drive?
Windsor
Yes.
Drive.
Windsor
Okay.
Drive, I'm sorry.
Right, so at your last meeting, you talked about Windsor Drive and vacating that bit of right of way that remains over there. I think the next steps would be, I'm aware of one appraiser, maybe get 1 or 2 others and see what they would charge to appraise that property to set a price. And then to contact the 3 neighbors that are involved on the 2 sides of that right of way, if they would like to purchase a split of it for each of them at such a price as the board would set once we see an appraisal report. So that'd be the next steps. And then, finally, if we get that arranged, then there'll be an ordinance for the board to go ahead and vacate the public street that's there. The western portion of that has already been vacated, and you'll realize if you drive by that the Twin Oaks Baptist Church occupies it. What would have been an extension out to Randall Road. So that happened in like 1992. Why the rest of it wasn't vacated at the time, I don't know. But it's never, never say never. It's highly unlikely that it would ever connect to Randall Road. There, the whole impetus there is to limit access. And there's a program set to widen that roadway anyway. I just don't know that that'll ever happen. So we'll try to get some information together about a value, make a written offer to the neighbors, see if they'll take that. I don't know if anybody here is, when was that? About 2010, Mr. President? 2008, the village identified several situations like this. I think there were 3 or 4, and then the neighbors did step up and were anxious and willing to expand their lot a little bit, and draw a line down the middle, and each one on the side took half of it and just added to their yards. Why this one just didn't come to our attention at the time, I suppose. But there it is now, and we'll follow up and keep you advised on where it's going.
Okay. No other old business coming?
I'm sorry, one last comment. It does take a vote. I forget if it's, I think it takes like 6 trustee votes, including the president, to do this. So if somebody's really against this, speak up. I mean, it's extraordinary. You're not giving away, but you're giving up public property. But this one seems pretty clear that it has no realistic use for the public at that location at any time. So I just mentioned that because we don't want to run this too far down the road and find out that 2 of you are dead set against it for some reason. Okay, that's all.
That's all? All right. Any other old business come before the board? No other old business come before the board? New business come before the board?
I have something, I guess, talking about towers and antenna structures. I guess there was something back in ordinance 2014-4 that stated something to the effect that the village gets an administration fee from towers and antenna structures. And I don't know if that's something we've ever looked into, or are we receiving funds, or so perhaps maybe at the next meeting we could have some discussion or some presentation to see if indeed we're receiving funds from.
Eugene are already on top of that.
Okay, appreciate it. So we'll have something as a,
By tomorrow morning.
we have until August.
Tomorrow
I'm going to plane tomorrow morning, so I don't care, but August 16th will be plenty of time.
I will keep quiet till August 16th.
Very good.
I'll take bets on what it is.
I appreciate
Pink or
it.
blue. Okay, no other new business come before the board? Item 15 on the agenda.
Boy, I move we adjourn. I was thinking that, yeah.
Second.
Moved by Diatley, seconded by Thorne to adjourn. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, we are adjourned.
Has anyone ever said no to that?
Oh,
No, I want to keep going.
The last person to vote, should be 5
I didn't know what was left.
That's why the clerk.
I drove by. and they all
messes it up and
Three
changes
business.
the order. So that people
Looked
can't
good,
do
it's
that.
bag, letter, so. Yeah.
No, I guess. Well, I guess it's tonight to my feet.
He doesn't want
I
to.
tell you.
Thank you for using your notes.
Yeah.
Whatever you need.
Whatever I need, well, I got some ideas.